Welcome back to Forza Naples. Paul, it finally happened. FC Naples season's over. We've had a couple weeks off now to recap it and kind of recover from a great season, a long season. Probably better than we thought it was, but after a 2-0 loss, 2-1 Knoxville in the league semifinals, season came to an end a couple weeks ago. We're going to break down that game and then just kind of recap the season as a whole, and get each other's thoughts on it as we head into year two.
Yeah, it was an awesome season. I know we're going to do kind of a match breakdown and talk about the season in whole, and that's ultimately at this point we've had a week to decompress. What you gotta appreciate is how awesome of a season it was, how successful it was, and you can hang your hat on the fact that we lost uh, to the champion by one, and if a few things go a little differently, maybe we're champions, but you'll never be satisfied if it's championship or bust. Only one team can lift the trophy at the end of the year. Unfortunately, it wasn't us, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't 9 months of awesome times and great memories.
Yeah, agreed. It was a absolutely fantastic first season. So many great memories, so many things to talk about, and so many things to look forward to heading into year two. Um, let's kind of get into this game a little bit. We don't want to dwell on it too much, but do just want to kind of give a quick recap. FC Naples fell 1-0 to one Knoxville on the road. A chilly night there in Knoxville, it looked like, and it was one of those games that was a lot of back and forth, and I thought we did a really good job of sitting back and taking a lot of Knoxville pressure and trying to hit them on the break. Both teams had chances, and it just seemed like one of those games that a couple things bounce a different way, and it's a different story. Unfortunately, things went one Knoxville's way. A great goal there by Tequila for them, 66th minute, great finish. Unfortunate, we couldn't respond, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. And like you said, we take solace in knowing we lost to the eventual champions, and we only lost 1-0. Spokane lost 2-0. So
Yeah, it's one of those things. You talked about the chances late, right? They did have a great goal. Um, a little disappointed we didn't get the handball call. Uh, I think it was like 80th minute. It's kind of a blur this far back now, but thought that was clear that should have been a handball. We should have gotten to take a penalty to tie the game late. And then you go into extra times, who knows what could happen. And it's a team we played tough all year. Um, and at the end of the day, they got the cheap handball or cheap penalty in match one to give them the 1-0 victory. We go 0-0 at their place, and then, one bad moment, and they take a 1-0 victory to advance in the playoffs. Um, and yeah, I think, the guys played really hard. And I thought kind of the last 20, from when they scored that goal, I kind of felt like the momentum shifted to us almost, where I thought we were going to get the equalizer. We had a lot of great chances. Um, the ref even gave us a few extra minutes in stoppage time. I think we played like 3 or 4 minutes over what was allotted. Um, we had the opportunities, and Spokane I'm sorry, Knoxville did what they needed to do to escape 1-0.
yeah, Knoxville, I thought credit hats off to them and that back line, and their keeper too made a couple saves. They really locked in and knew kind of our plan of attack of bringing the ball down the wings and trying to create something with Henderlong, and they did a great job of shutting him down. Very well coached, very well disciplined team, and I think at the end of the year, that's why they won the championship, right? And that's why they did the double. They won the league, the regular season title, and then they won the league title, undefeated at home throughout the year for one Knox. So credit there, a great season for them. They had a great crowd there for the championship game last weekend. Yeah, just you gotta kind of give credit where it's due for them, but overall great season for one Knox, and congratulations to them.
Yeah, and here's my question, right? And I think we both are in agreement that if we get past one Knoxville, I think we have a really good chance of beating Spokane. Granted, it would have been in Spokane versus Knoxville. playing at home, but kind of a philosophical question. Would you rather be eliminated in the semifinals by the eventual champion or lose to them in the championship? Like, what's your thought in a league like this? Not, baseball, obviously, there's something about winning a pennant in baseball, but kind of in the soccer world, um, I guess like this question is equivalent to cups in England and whatnot. Is a semifinal loss to the champ better than a championship loss?
No, I think you can kind of take credit for, you played in the last game of the season. I think that would have been pretty cool. So I think you want to try and go as far as you can. But to lose, especially if it would have been more of a blowout, like if Knoxville would have won 5-0, it would have been like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, look, we only lost 1-0. But yeah, to say you got to play in that game, especially in your first year, and I know Spokane did it last year as a first year team and did it again this year. I think that's kind of the goal, right? And
Hmm.
that's something pretty cool to get to say to. And hey, in our first year, we made the championship game,
Yeah.
even if it
Yeah,
doesn't go your way.
yeah, I agree with you. I think that, you always, I don't have an issue playing the best teams early on. Like, I know there's some people that want the easiest path to the championship. I do kind of like the fact that, we played against a good team in round one. We played against the champs in round two. Like, we had a tough playoff road to get to the finals. We knew that going in, that it was going to be a tough road. But I think we both thought that if we got there, it was ours to lose at that point. I didn't feel that way against Knoxville. Like, I don't think that we should have, pregame, like it wasn't, oh, this is a game we should win. It's more of a game we could win. And then um yeah, so I mean, always tough to lose at any point in the playoffs. Would have been really
Yeah,
cool to get to see them play in the championship, um but now, and it's kind of cool doing this. I think I would have been a lot more upset about that handball had we done it the Sunday after the match. Like, I would have been really upset. I think I would have been a little more fired up. But, 2 weeks of reflection, and now it's, the excitement of what's the off season going to bring, you know, are who's coming back, who's moving up in the world. And I think that's kind of a cool thing about this league is obviously we want to keep all of our best guys, but if they get higher opportunities in other leagues across the world and go play in bigger football leagues, like that's a cool story too. So it'll be cool to see where kind of all the guys end up and who we bring in next year.
yeah. Very curious to see who stays, who moves up, because you can look at our roster and there's definitely some guys that you kind of look at and you see the way they play and it's like, what are you doing here? You should be
Hmm.
up in the championship at least.
Hmm.
Which it'll be, like you said, very interesting to see what the squad is looking like for next year, and with all of these expansion teams coming in next year as well,
Hmm.
what is that going to look like? What's the schedule going to look like? Allegedly, we'll get a schedule here soon, kind of mid-December, hopefully. But yeah, it's looking forward to that. So with that, let's look back at this past season we just had. Any favorite moments? Any standout moments for you, Paul?
I'm gonna take the easy one. I'm gonna say the penalty kick in the home opener. Uh,
Yeah,
Vereen getting on the board late, late in the game, heroics like, hey, um, here we go, and we tie the game, we get the point, first goal, all that. Um, is probably my number one, and closely, honestly, followed by the Rowdies U.S. Open Cup loss, which might be a surprising take, right? A game that we lost is the best moment, but I mean, going to 10 rounds of penalties against the championship side in the U.S. Open Cup, which is a cup I really have not cared about until this year in my entire life. To that being such a heartbreaking loss. So I would say that those were number one, a clear, and then and a close second.
yeah, I'm with you on that. That first game was just seeing how full it was. Over 4,000 people there. Um, a great goal by Chattanooga to kick things off, and then us responding with that penalty. Yeah, fantastic. And then I think too that those first 9 games where we went unbeaten, and week first game of the season we tie 1-1. Second game we come out against Forward Madison, who's a pretty well established League One team, beat them 2-0 at home. go up to Sarasota, beat the Sarasota Paradise 2-1 in a really back and forth game with Kevin O'Connor getting that 90th minute game winner to keep it from going to extra time. That one seems like so long ago, but a great memory. And then we go out, beat Spokane. Those first 9 games, ending with that Rowdies 1-1 draw that we lost in penalties, that was pretty special. Another standout for me, thinking back early to the season, was beating Charleston 1-0. I was
Hmm.
at a wedding and I remember checking my phone for that one. Seems like forever ago, but being like, holy crap, we just beat a championship side and a really good championship side at that. 1-0. That was another really fun moment. And then I think the last game of the regular season too, that 2-0 win against Charlotte. We had kind of slipped with 3 losses in a row. Lost to Omaha, lost to Westchester, and then winning that game to clinch home field advantage. That was pretty special too.
Yeah, I think the Saturday nights when you had other plans and you gotta, turn the game on for a little bit to see how the squad's doing. I remember doing that at close family friend's wedding. It got late. I wasn't gonna do it, and then the game was close, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna do it." Another really cool one for me was watching at a sports book in Arizona when I was in Phoenix and watching them on CBS Sports Network, like at a sports book, going up to them and asking if they could put the FC Naples game on. And you've got all these TVs with all these big sports events, and I'm just like that corner one. Who wants this random soccer game that nobody knows about? Um, and watching it there was pretty cool.
Yeah, great, great season. Um, so kind of after talking through our favorite moments here, who are you giving the MVP award to from the team?
I mean, right? I think the easy answer is Delgado. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, the captain, the goalie, he played, I think, almost every game. I think he's missed a couple here and there. And obviously, the backup keeper stepped up big a few times, namely, I think, penalties in round one. But just like reliable, I think Henderlong had flashes where he was better. Farine obviously started off really hot and then kind of just disappeared from the lineup late. And I think Onan would be a contender had he not gotten hurt. You got guys like Perpa and Sarah that had big moments, but I'm gonna give it to Delgado, and I can't wait to hear after kind of the list of guys I gave as shout outs to who you're gonna probably pick from one of those guys. And I have a feeling I know who you're gonna pick, but I want to hear it from you.
Yeah, it was so kind of reflecting now in our 2 weeks off. We had the third best goals against in the league, and that was after giving up some wild and some crazy games. We were pretty strong defensively all year, which was impressive. Only giving up 32 goals. Knoxville finished top in this category with only 26 goals given up, and Chattanooga had 30. So sitting there pretty solid towards the top of the table. So because of that, I think I got to go with Breck Evans and Jake Dangler for like co MVPs. I think they were really just the steady hand all year at the back and just super reliable. But also you got to look at Carson Henderlong and just everything he did, all those goals that he finished. He's a true striker, a true goal scorer, right? Just always up there, able to you put the ball near him and you know he's probably going to score, right? You play that ball to him in the box, he'll finish it for you. So I think between those 3 guys, I can't pick just one. I think it's got to be those guys.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, and I wanted to kind of shout out the back line. It's just hard when you've got two guys equal, and it's almost the cop out answer to give it to the keeper, who's kind of quarterbacking the whole thing. And when you are a defensive minded team, it makes sense that it's ultimately going to be a defensive player. I think when Henderlong was on, Henderlong was really good. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I would not be surprised if he is somewhere bigger next season. I'm not gonna say better. I'll just say bigger. Um, and I think when we talk kind of off-season movements, I just don't see anybody, and I'm kind of taking a pivot from the MVP here, but like I just don't see anybody leaving for another USL one team. Maybe some bench guys that want to play. I just have a hard time believing the way the community embraces them, living in Naples, like why you would want to go anywhere else in League One. Um,
Right.
but yeah, I think I like your takes on those MVPs.
Another guy too who I wanted to make sure we shout out was just Kevin O'Connor. I mean, that guy seemed to play every minute of every game, and he would step up whenever we needed someone to fill in anywhere, whether
Hmm.
that be like he was playing fullback against Greenville. He stepped up big time for us, and was just really like that solid midfield presence all year, kind of
Hmm.
controlling the team as a whole, almost like a captain without the captain's armband out there. I think he was pivotal to our success, and plus that goal he scored against Miami straight off the corner,
Hmm.
that was that one will go down for sure.
Yeah, I think he was a name that's kind of who I thought maybe you would give it to. So I'm glad that I would have said Breck Evans for you number one, but I do think or Dangle actually that's kind of where I thought you were going to go. But I'm glad we gave OC a shout out because he deserved it. The plug and play. Every team needs somebody that you can say this is what the team needs at this given moment. You might not be our best player in any one position, but you are the guy that when that guy goes down, we know you can go fill that role very close to what our starter is producing. Um,
Yeah,
so glad he got the shout out there.
yeah, he just seems like the kind of guy that you could say, "Hey, you're gonna play in goal next game," and he'd say,
Yeah,
"Okay, give me the gloves."
give me the gloves. Yep.
Yeah. All right. So that's kind of our year past. What are you looking forward to most for next season? I know we don't have the fixtures out yet. We don't know what the schedule's going to look like. Some new teams coming in. What are you looking forward to next season?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, obviously hosting some of the new teams that are coming in, kind of different competition, different locations where the guys are going to get to travel to. Obviously looking forward to that first home game, like when's that going to be? Um, are they going to get new uniforms? I assume that there's going to be a new kit next year. Um, Hoping that there's a new kit and kind of having another build up. That was a lot of fun. And then really just seeing what type of teams are brought in or what type of players are brought in because I could easily see some championship level players that either towards the end of the career, or even some MLS, low MLS guys that didn't get any burn there, being like, "Hey, Naples is a cool spot, a lot of opportunities. Maybe I'll go spend a year playing there," and just seeing what type of talent we can bring in next year. I think, I'm sure when we do an off-season podcast here or there, we'll talk about movements and player movement development um, and what promotion relegation is going to look like. I think that was something I wanted to talk about as soon as it was announced, and we agreed we would discuss that, you know, postseason. But yeah, just the player movement is going to be really fascinating to me because we talked about all year that this is a wild league, and I imagine the off seasons even is just as wild.
Yeah, now that we've had a whole season with players, it'll be interesting, like you said, to see all of the movement. I know it seems like other our new teams we're already starting to see them sign new players. So I have not been able to find anywhere what the contracts of our players look like. If they were all 1 year contracts and everyone's free to move and everyone has to get re-signed, or what it all looks like. But very very curious, like you said, to see what kind of team we have for next year. One thing I'm also looking forward to is traveling over to Fort Lauderdale and up to Sarasota for away games. I think those will be fun rivalries. I know we had the Sarasota one this year on a Tuesday night in the Open Cup, or Wednesday night, whatever night it was in the Open Cup. But looking forward to getting to travel to those cities in the regular season. and maybe even trying to plan another trip to another stadium. We got New York Cosmos are coming back in next year. Um, can't wait to just go boo them and make fun of them for their glory days at the NASL, even though I don't think they have any relation other than the name. So yeah, some new teams coming in. Hopefully this is all good sign for League One. I know we lost your favorite team, Texoma, but it's quite a few teams with Boise, Corpus Christi, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Wayne, New York Cosmos, and Sarasota, and Eugene, Oregon, Sporting Cascades FC all coming in next season, followed by Port St. Lucie, another Florida team in 2027, and Rodeo SC coming in 2027 as well. So, exciting times for the league, and it seems like the league's kind of been stronger than ever right now.
Yeah, I mean, you just listed obviously Florida seems to have a big emphasis, and that makes sense with the weather. But another West Coast team is cool. I wonder if they're going to play where Oregon plays their soccer games potentially. I have no idea. And then obviously New York's always cool. Be cool to see where they end up playing um, as well. So yeah, it's I think the strength of the league, and I think that we're going to see the USL keep growing. And, we talked about it. Once that promotion relegation comes in, I think that the USL is going to be quickly the top soccer league in the US, which is why it's so cool that we have a team on the ground floor in Naples.
Yeah, I am gonna miss spending my Saturdays out at Paradise Coast or watching the game on ESPN Plus when we were away. Not gonna have to focus solely on Premier League now, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for us, Paul. But it seems to be a good thing this week after beating Liverpool 3-0. But
Yeah,
we'll
it's
save
good.
that
Good
for
soccer
a
still.
Forest podcast. So we got to start.
Yeah, I think honestly, in doing this, weekly was such a blast. I think the fact that people listened weekly is really cool. Something we've done for forever. Just talking, two dudes talking sports that just love sports, and cool to see. I'm sure it's kind of neat for you and your family to see how much I've embraced soccer over the last few years, with how little I cared for the first 23 years of my life. So that'll be my goal next season, is to provide a little more soccer expertise as I continue to learn. We were talking even pre-show, and I learned something else about soccer that I didn't know. So, yeah, just love doing it week in, week out, and looking forward to, hopefully a few sporadic episodes during the off season, and coming back strong next year, maybe with a brand deal. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe we can get some sort of NIL deal or something going. But yeah, who knows? Yeah, it has been an absolute blast doing this with you. Thank you all for listening. Like you said, I don't know. Sometimes we question why you listen, but we are very thankful that you do. And we hope that you are enjoying the show. I know I was able to pull up our metrics across our podcasting apps. So we have listeners in the UK, Spain, Russia, and Poland, as well
What?
as Germany, France, Colombia, Brazil, Peru, Romania, and Australia. So I don't know if people are using VPNs and that's what it's picking up, or if we actually do have listeners in those countries. So if you're listening in those countries, get in touch with us. We want to hear from you. But yeah, thank you all so much for listening and for a great season. And like you said, Paul, we'll be back kind of sporadically here in the off season, but looking forward to doing deep dives of full season previews. Even maybe start of February, early March, or we'll have to break down the fixtures once those come out. So a lot less frequent episodes. Not that we were very frequent to begin with our weekly episodes, but yeah, looking forward to a slower off season and getting back with everyone again soon. And anything else you want to add, or anything else you're looking forward to for next season, or anything
No,
else you're looking forward to this off season?
sad to see the season come to an end, but can't thank the team enough for a great job that they did building this team, making the environment at the stadium incredible. I don't live anywhere near South Florida anymore, but I've already hit up my guy, making sure I still got my two tickets for next year. Do not want to be scouring the open market or concerned if I can't make a game. So, Looking forward to another great year next year and seeing what the club can do to maintain the pace that they did this year, or increase the excitement around the club.
Yeah, looking forward to next year. What I've kind of been living by now is don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. A great first year, and really looking forward to coming back even stronger next year. I had the pleasure of going to Hopsize Brewery with a bunch of other diehard FC Naples fans for that Knoxville game, and that was kind of the sentiment around the bar as well after the game ended was, we'll be back even stronger next year. I can't wait. So really exciting times for the club. Like you said, let's take all this momentum, push it into next year, and keep going strong. I think that's gonna do it then for our last episode of the inaugural season of FC Naples. Thank you again all so much for listening. Be sure to follow us on social media if you're not already, at Forza Naples Pod, at Forza Naples on Blue Sky, at Forza Naples Pod on Instagram. You can email the show, Forza Naples 239@gmail.com. But yeah, thank you all so much for listening. Thanks for a great first season, and we will be back again soon. Until then, up the Naples.